Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Wood Brew video. My name is Dylan, and in this week's episode, we're gonna be checking out the Grizzly G0513. Now, we actually got this saw in the mail about 6 months ago. We did kind of an unboxing video, setting it up and everything. You can check that out in the link in the description below. But in this week's episode, we're gonna be kind of diving into the details of it and giving a full proper review, since I've now had it for about 6 months and used it on plenty of projects. Now, we purchased a 14-inch bandsaw off of Craigslist many years ago, so I am gonna be taking sort of my experience using that saw and comparing it to this new saw. So hopefully, if you're kind of in that same situation of having that sort of 14-inch generic saw that a lot of us have, is it worth upgrading? And although I will go ahead and tell you, I absolutely love this saw, there are a lot of things that you probably want to know about before you actually decide to purchase it for yourself. So stick around till the end. I'm going to be going over the good, the bad, and the ugly of this saw. This video is broken into sections, so if you just care about one of the sections, feel free to skip ahead to that timestamp. So the video is going to be broken down into price, performance, build quality, things I don't like, and finally just my overall opinion on the saw. One important thing before the video starts, Grizzly did send us this bandsaw for free, but they have not paid us to talk about it or anything like that, and I promise not to be a Grizzly fanboy and just get all enthralled with this thing. I'm gonna be objective about it and tell you what I truly think about it based on my experience with the saw we owned prior to this and experience using other people's saws. If at any time during this video you're really enjoying it, you see something that helps you out, be sure to hit the like button down below the video. It really actually does help us out, helps boost us in the YouTube algorithm, and helps us make more content like this in the future. Let's first go over the price of this saw. Now, if we look on Grizzly's website right now, this particular saw is on sale right now for $975. Now, the typical retail price is $1,075, and you do have to pay $129 for freight to have it delivered. That brings the total of the saw to roughly around $1,100 to $1,200 shipped to your house. Now, this is definitely an expensive tool. You're not wrong thinking that, but it's actually a pretty great value when you look at the competitors that are also in the space making very similar products to this one. This one actually typically runs several $100s cheaper than its competitors, and in some cases, a saw that looks very similar is running well over $1,000 more than this saw right here. So from that standpoint, it's actually a pretty great value. Now, there's one way you can save a little bit of money, and that is Grizzly gave us a 10% off coupon. I'm not really aware of 10% off coupons floating around the internet, so this is actually a pretty good opportunity to take advantage of. It's just Wood Brew 10. We don't get any commission off of it. They just said if we wanted to put it in a video or on Instagram or whatever, we could. So yeah, just take advantage of it if you decide to purchase something from them. Now, here's something that people typically don't think about when they're purchasing a large tool like this, and it's something that I got my mindset shifted to at a very early age in my woodworking sort of making career. And that was that large tools like this especially are really just assets to you or your business. So you don't have to think about making a super large purchase like you would with most other things in your life. This is going to potentially make you money, but at very least, you can sell it down the road whenever you're deciding to upgrade in the future. Using this method early on when we first got started was how I actually built up a large arsenal of tools. What I would do is I would buy a tool, I would use it for maybe even as little as a year or 6 months. I would kind of fix it up maybe a little bit, or if it was brand new, I would just use it, and then I would sell it and upgrade later. Now, I would lose a little bit of money because of depreciation on the tool, but oftentimes it wasn't that much money for the amount of time I got to use it. For instance, the last bandsaw that we had, I bought for $250 off of Craigslist. Now, I actually ended up putting a couple $100s in that saw, so I maybe had the saw for around $400 or so. But when I sold it for $300, meaning that I had the saw for only $100 to use for 5 or 6 years before we got this one. And that's kind of what I would recommend you do whenever you're considering making a large purchase like this. I guarantee you that a saw like this won't lose that much value over a few years, especially if you're offsetting that depreciation with using the saw to make yourself income. I'm actually gonna use my phone real quick and check Facebook Marketplace and see if I can find a similar saw to this and show you kind of what the depreciation would be on a tool similar to this one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type in Grizzly bandsaw, and oh my gosh, I actually got lucky. There's a Grizzly 17-inch 2 horsepower bandsaw. It's not the anniversary edition, but it's basically the exact same saw as this one. It's listed on here for 800 bucks. So let's say you bought it for 1,100 bucks. That's only $300 that you lost in depreciation, which I'm sure you can figure out how to make up in actually using it to produce income. That's kind of how I like to look at these larger purchases, and it might make you feel a little bit more comfortable about shelling out money in the future for a tool. You really do have to look at these things as investments when you're spending this kind of money on a tool. To go a little bit further on that, a good way of thinking about it is how a brick and mortar store actually pays for rent, so they have to spend money before they actually make money. Very similar in this sort of vein. Now, if you're just buying this as a hobby and you have the money, then you know what? This is gonna bring you a lot of joy and bring a lot of value into the hobby that you enjoy. But if you're looking at this from a business perspective, which I think a lot of us do, I mean, most of us hobby woodworkers are making money on the side. And if you are in that situation and this does make sense for your budget, because I'm not trying to justify you spending this money. You shouldn't have to justify it really. If you have the money available and you're looking for something to invest in, think about, how is this tool gonna make me more money than it is losing in depreciation? Not just how much is this tool gonna make me in comparison to the overall cost. Because like I said, you're probably gonna wanna end up upgrading it in the future, and it's not gonna lose that entire value. Kind of putting your money in something as an asset that will retain some value over time. Now let's talk about probably the most important aspect of a bandsaw, and that is performance. How well does this thing actually work? Now I have to say pretty much right off the bat that this saw has outperformed most saws that I've ever used, with the exception of maybe one or two that were actually in a much higher class, so it was expected. I haven't really been able to throw anything at this saw that it can't handle, regardless of what blade I'm using. It doesn't matter whether I'm using a tiny blade or a really large resaw blade. It basically handles anything and everything that I've put through it. Some important aspects to think about are I am using a 120 volt instead of 220 volt, so I actually think that you would gain a little bit more power using 220 volt versus 120 volt. I chose to use 120 just simply because I have 120 throughout the entire shop, and I like to move the thing around at certain times. So as far as resawing goes, this saw performs extraordinarily well. And like I said, I really haven't been able to max the saw out. I haven't been able to bog down the motor, anything like that. It's just done everything I've asked it to do. Another important aspect of the saw is the fence. And this is something that you're gonna get a dramatic upgrade with anytime you step up from that 14-inch saw to a larger, more industrial size saw. The fence is usually always gonna be a little bit better, and this is no exception. I actually chose to upgrade the fence to a slightly higher model than what actually came with the saw. Now, all the fence components itself are pretty much exactly the same, except for the height of the fence. That's the only piece that I really upgraded. So I have a taller fence that can also flip 90 degrees sideways, and it can be a lot lower so that you can bring the blade guides almost all the way down to the table when you're cutting really thin stock. Other than that, the fence is pretty much stock, and I have to say, it's really good. I have no complaints. I wouldn't say it's the best fence I've ever used, but I definitely don't see any real issues with it, and it has always done exactly really what I've wanted it to do. The stock dust collection on the saw is actually pretty darn good. There's a 4-inch port located on the bottom back side of the saw, and a 4-inch port located right underneath the table, right where the saw blade kind of comes through the table. And there's actually a little ramp on the inside of the saw that kind of forces sawdust to go into that first major port on the side of the saw, which really helps with dust collection a lot. Now, any sawdust that passes through that section would then get sucked up with the port on the back. And in my experience, using both 4-inch ports and a decent vacuum, it has pretty darn good dust collection for a bandsaw. You're for sure gonna have a little bit of dust on the top side of the saw. That's just pretty much inevitable, but overall, it's pretty darn good. One of my favorite parts about the saw, and again, is something that you get by upgrading to one of these larger machines, is the blade guides themselves. The height adjustment of the blade guide in particular is really, really nice. all you have to do is release one knob, and then you can simply crank it up or down and get it exactly where you want it, because there is a measurement gauge on the side that lets you know exactly how high it is off the table, so you don't have to have a piece and eyeball it and be cranking it up and making sure it works. No, you just have to look at the gauge, get it the right height you want, lock it down, and you're good to go. One of the things I like the most about the saw is the tensioning mechanism. There's a large arm on the back of the saw that allows you to quickly apply tension or release tension, which means that you can quickly take the blade on and off, but also lets me release the tension when I'm not using the saw, so I don't keep the saw under tension, but then quickly just throw the lever back the other way, and it's ready to be used in just a few seconds. Also, with blade tensioning, there's a clear window on the side of the saw that lets you see how the blade is tracking on the upper wheel, which is really useful and a great safety feature, so that you don't have to have the door open when you turn the saw on, and making sure the thing is tracking properly. There's also a gauge for tension that also has a clear window on the front of the saw that shows you roughly where the tension should be based on the size of blade you have. Now, there's a little bit of a flaw of that, and I'll talk about that in the next section. Now let's move on to the build quality of this saw. Now, as you would expect, this saw's build quality is quite good at the price point that it's in. But there are a few places where it's fairly clear where they didn't cut on build quality, but they did cut on convenience, and that shows up in a few small places that I will explain in the things I don't like about this saw section. Now, pretty much the entire saw is metal, which is a great start. It has this really nice sort of powder coating on it. It doesn't have the typical labels that seem like they're gonna fall off. I don't know about you, but I cannot stand making a large tool purchase to only have the labels fall off of it. I feel like that is such a common problem in most of the tools that I've gotten. The badges fall off, or the labels, or whatever. It's only been 6 months, to be fair, but the labels seem pretty good. None of them are falling off or peeling, or like laminate layer falling off of them. So that's a good start. So it's got great finish. It's pretty much entirely made of metal. The only places that are plastic are a few of the handle bits, which just kind of makes sense for them to be plastic. So overall, the build quality is really nice on this saw. The thing that sticks out the most about the build quality of this saw is the table. It has absolutely no flex in it, which is something that is very typical in bandsaws and something that I've experienced heavily in my last saw and in other saws that I've used. In my last saw, I was constantly worried about bumping the table with a large board, or even just like moving it with my hand and then making it come out of square. I mean, I was a constant delicate sort of thing messing with the table. The trunnions never really locked in place, and it was really difficult just in general to keep the thing square. And that's not the case with this saw. The table itself is really solid, but the thing that makes it even more solid is the trunnion system. The trunnion system locks out really well, it has indentations, and overall it's just been a great experience using that portion of this saw, and I never really worry about it once I get it set to where I want it. One quick little thing is that it is kind of difficult to get to the knob where you release it in order to make the table tilt again, but it's not a big issue for me because I rarely ever tilt the saw, and I just want it to stay 90 degrees most of the time. Now, out of the box, the saw came pretty much set up. The blade was on it, it was already tuned. I had to assemble the table and the fence, but other than that, the saw was basically set up and ready to go whenever I got it. So the overall build quality is pretty darn superior, and I know you would probably expect that coming from a $1,000 tool, but I have a lot of $1,000 tools, and this one honestly impressed me for what you get with that amount of money. Basically, they didn't skimp out anywhere on this and put any sort of real flimsy pieces anywhere that I feel like are gonna break in the future. I was really, really impressed by the build quality of this saw. Now let's talk about the things that I don't necessarily like that much about this saw. Now I'll go ahead and tell you there's nothing just mind-bogglingly terrible about the saw or something that's gonna just make you immediately say, I don't want this saw, but there are some things that I think you should know before buying it, just so that you're kind of aware of these things that you could potentially run into once you get the saw. The first thing is that the saw does not come wired. Now yes, this is a bit nitpicky because most saws and tools of this caliber do not come wired. Now there is one saving grace about that, is that this saw can be wired with 220 or 120, which makes it really versatile, but you are gonna have to wire it when you get it. It doesn't come with a plug and it doesn't come with wires to wire it. So you're gonna have to do that on your own and figure that out. Now I will say the manual is really good. It tells you exactly what to do. It's not a hard process, but it did require me going to the store a couple times and getting a few things that I needed to be able to actually get the saw up and running. Now the second thing is that the saw is advertised to run a 130-inch blade all the way up to a 131.5-inch blade, but there is a little bit of a catch there that I've found. All the blades I have are 130 inches, they were easy to find, but the thing about the 130-inch blade is that it barely goes on the saw. Not a super big deal, but it is a little bit of a pain in the butt to get on. But the bigger deal is that the gauge does not work with the 130-inch blades on there. The actual needle is way off the scale, and I believe that you're gonna have to get a 131.5-inch blade in order for that scale to be somewhat useful for tensioning the blade. So if you are considering getting this saw, I would go and find that specific length blade whenever you start making blade purchases. So this next one is a little bit nitpicky, but it's something that I see a lot, and it's really annoying to me. I think in this price range, this just shouldn't be the case. Now the blade guides on the saw are phenomenal, but the one but with them is that you have to use an Allen wrench in order to tighten and loosen the nuts on there to make the adjustments. And I don't know about you, but I can't stand having to have a specific Allen wrench set aside or magnet to the back of the saw or something like that just to simply make a quick adjustment. Those should be fairly easy to make adjustments with, considering that the tension system is so easy to use and everything leading up to that point is super fast. I think that those Allen wrenches should be eliminated and there should be some sort of knob or something to quickly set the blade guides so they don't kind of bottleneck the rest of the system. Speaking of blade guides, the bottom blade guide on this saw is a little bit difficult to adjust. That's kind of expected. I mean, it's in a difficult place as is, but I just wish there was a little bit easier way to access everything. You have to reach pretty far in, again, with one of those Allen wrenches in order to make an adjustment. The last thing, which is a pretty big flaw in my opinion, and the ugly part of this video, is removing of the blade. Everything leading up to removing the blade is quite easy, but whenever the saw is against the wall like I have it in my shop, the door doesn't open up far enough for you to be able to pull the blade out easily. So what you end up having to do is twist the blade in order to get it around the door itself, which then twists the blade in the bottom blade guide of the saw and makes it an absolute nightmare to remove from the saw. Now this seems a little bit nitpicky, I know, but it's just something that kind of hangs you up in your flow process and provides a little bit of friction that makes you not want to do something with the saw. Now it's not a problem at all if you move the saw away from the wall, but again, you have to move the saw away from the wall. So if it's not away from the wall in your shop, then you're gonna have to deal with this each time you remove a blade. I think there would be a very simple fix to this, and that is that the center section of the blade guard could rotate open with some sort of hinge system and allow you to be able to remove the blade a little bit easier. That's a potential solution, but I'm not really sure, and for now, I'm just stuck with pulling the saw away from the wall enough to get the door to swing almost completely backwards in order to be able to remove that blade. Overall, I can say this saw is a pretty great bargain, and if you're shopping for one, I wouldn't hesitate to buy this one. If you're like myself and we're on the fence about whether or not to purchase a 14-inch bandsaw or a larger bandsaw like this one, I would go ahead and tell you, if your budget allows, to just go ahead and invest a little bit more money and grab a bigger saw. What you get for that money is pretty dramatic, and really, in my opinion, after using both now for quite a bit, this is definitely worth the extra bit of money, especially if you're gonna actually be producing income with the saw. If you're brand new to woodworking or have a smaller budget, don't just be discouraged by this video and think that all 14-inch bandsaws are terrible. That is not the case whatsoever. I used one for about 6 years or so, and really was able to do basically everything that I wanted to do. I'm not gonna act like it was just the most joyful process in the world, but that's kind of how it goes. When you're getting started, you kind of have to work with what you can get, so don't hesitate to buy a 14-inch bandsaw or just a used bandsaw that you've come across, because that can be a great deal and you can eventually upgrade it down the road like I did. Now, if you're a super serious woodworker or budget doesn't apply and you have plenty of space, I would actually consider going up 1 or 2 steps from this one. It's really not that much more money when you're already spending this kind of money on a machine, and if it's gonna be in a space that's being used every single day and producing income, you might as well. You get a lot of extra stuff as you tier up. I think this is a great middle ground for most people, but if you are that super serious woodworker or somebody who's producing income with it and using it and maxing it out on a daily basis, I would actually recommend spending a few $100s more and getting a slightly larger machine. Now before I go, be sure to smash that like button. It really does help us a lot. It makes us be able to create more of these videos because it kind of helps boost the video up a little bit and helps with the YouTube algorithm. So we greatly appreciate that. And if you have any comments or experience about this saw or other saws, be sure to leave a comment down below because I'm sure it could help a lot of people out that are trying to make a large purchase like this. Also, with that said, if you have any questions about this saw in particular that I didn't answer today, be sure to leave a comment below. I will answer every single comment down there. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. We're gonna be trying to stick to a schedule now and producing one video a week. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification so that you can be notified whenever we publish our next video. And we have some really cool projects coming up. So be sure to stick around. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later.